Hello YouTube. Today we're going to have a little look at Pearl. Pearl is due to release in 1 to 2 days, and I want to give you guys the most detailed Cypher guide there is out there. So let's jump straight into it. Okay, coming up towards A site, the first thing I would love to discuss is one tripwire that I see by every single YouTuber out there. Do not use it. It's the trip right here. This tripwire is super easy to bypass. People just jump over it and they're in sight without anyone dying to it. And basically everyone is expecting a trip with there. So what they're doing, they just pre-fire that angle. I would suggest instead of using that, use them across this little edge, or you can actually use them on this edge, because this is a tripwire that will actually catch people off guard. If they want to try and get into the corner here, they will not see this one coming. They will get caught onto it and use that instead to hold main. The default tripwire is so easy to counter that it's just not good anymore. If you want to wait for the buy barrier to drop, you can actually place a deeper one as well and then play that with a cage to see and wait if someone pops in. Other tripwires that are on site that I'd love to see are these. And there's a little tough to get, but once you get them, they're quite good. There's two that you can place like this. You can also, of course, place them all around the side. This site is quite friendly towards anyone trying to play it. You can also use them like this if they really want to counter this corner. This is the most planted spot on the entirety of site, or it's this corner. To counter people in that corner, you can place them along this ledge. It's not on top, but it's under it, and it goes across the entire thing. If you're then playing it from backside, you can wall bang the people. Same for this wall, by the way. But I would really suggest try and be a little creative. You can see all the tripwires that you can do. You can place them basically anywhere. You can also place them on the top end so that you counter the entire push. If you're worried about people pushing your short, you can also play it from short. So if you know that people are going to push this, have this tripwire, for example. You're going to place a cage right here. This allows you free movement also towards backside. And you can actually play it aggressively or a little more passively like this. And the buy barrier, of course, is here. People show off this tripwire as well. I will tell you, this tripwire also, once again, is jumpable. So you can easily get over it and people could just flank you without you knowing it. If you use a tripwire like this, place it like this. This only allows, of course, the updrafts kind of agents that are able to cross it, and that is fine. You are always taking care of that. For trips, if they really want to push it, and they do push short a lot, most of the time they kind of want to push short from like the back angle, and they could run into this trip. I would not suggest using it too much though, but it's good to feature. You can also use tripwires like this. But those are basically the tripwires. Onto cameras on towards A site. I would suggest just jumping on top of this box here. This jump is quite easy. Practice it a couple of times and you can place them as high up. Why do you want to have a camera here? It does allow them onto sight before you know it. First of all, the audio range on this camera is around there. So you can actually hear people pushing up towards A site. You can get the rotation in already for your team. Make sure that one stays on B, of course, in case of a fake. And you already have that intel. The moment they push in and they walk into tripwires or whatever, or maybe they don't even walk into a tripwire, they shoot the trips, you have all the info in the world because you can see exactly where they are. And if an enemy needs to push up and destroy that camera, they need to peek all the way up there. And they cannot just flick back onto you. So this is one of the best cameras in my eyes. Also, you can hold the short push. And you can also use cameras a little more aggressively like this, so that you can actually see both angles. You can see people walking into like the connector part here. But other than that, be creative with cameras. There are not really many cameras that you have to use because they're so much more powerful. These are just the cams that are out there, and I believe these are the best ones. So this one is, of course, going to be seen, and this one is going to be shot. Whereas if you place a cam right there, they won't be shot as easily, and you can just use them like that. For cages, I would say try and create a separate site. So this cage, for example, allows you to still rotate all around. And the same for this cage. You can also place this cage a little bit deeper. So instead of... Let's wait for this one to end real quick. Instead of placing it here to counter like the entire part here, you can also place it basically along the corner of that edge. What you then do, you open up the cage. You can see that everything is still covered, but you can actually swing out into people that push this. You can also place it a little bit deeper, more to the left. Make sure that it still covers it. Place it a little deeper. You can wait here and then swing out the moment you know that someone is here. Those are the aggressive plays. Keep in mind, if you want to do that, try and get the use out of your tripwires by placing them a little further so that you know that people are pushing around you and you can get those kills. That's basically it for A site. You can, of course, do the wallbang tricks. There's one more camera, by the way, that is quite good. And that is right on this ledge. On this ledge, you can actually look through the window. You can also place a little more to the right. You can look through the window and see anyone popping into sight. You can, of course, see shorts as well. I like this camera. You are still vulnerable to people flanking, though, but that should not really be an issue. So that's it for A site. Let's talk about middle. I feel like middle is actually a perfect playground here for Cypher. A lot of people that play Cypher do not want to hold mid. They want to be stuck on the setups on site, and they will be predictable. That's why I would suggest, as a Cypher player on Pearl, to play middle from time to time. You can play it in different ways. You don't always have to aggressively fight mid, but I am going to show you one little trick that I use to really peek mid, but safely. So first of all, the buy barrier is right here. The moment it drops, you start running. You throw a cage here. It lands on the corner. You can be on top of this box. Don't white swing this because you're all the way in the open. You can hold this peek. If anyone from middle peeks out, that's an easy headshot for you. They always show up and they do not see you across the one way. That is a little trick that I have. If you want to bamboozle people, which is a lovely little trick that I have used a little too much, you can actually have your camera right up there. People will expect you to then play it from short. So what you can do is you can hide behind this box, open up the cam. The moment you see someone, you tag them. Why is the tag important? Because you want them to notice the camera. If they don't notice the camera, they're going to check the box. If they notice the camera, they're going to try and walk out or remove the dart while safely standing right around the corner. But little do they know that you're actually right here. So if they push hard and they see the cam, they're going to continue the push and you can just shoot them right in the back. This is a little tricky, but it's a perfect play, at least for me. Of course, when you want to play it a little different, on tripwires, there is hardly anything you can do. You can, of course, place trips like this. I would suggest the other side, though. And they're kind of hard, but you can definitely place them. But on the other hand, they're jumpable. So I would say place them low. Make sure you trip people on it, but you have to actively watch them. You cannot place any tripwires here that are not passable except for this one. Be creative. You can always find tripwires yourself, by the way. You can do trips like this that always counter them as well, or trips on the other end as well. The box is really forgiving, so use them. If you want to play it a little different, I would suggest playing it like a funnel. What's going to happen is we have people standing or pushing middle, and they see the tripwires. Instead of shooting the tripwires, they want to be smart. They want to be big brains. So their plan is not to play the tripwires, destroy them, and go on. Their plan is to be going into a funnel. So people come here, and they take the site, and they go around. This camera allows you to look at anyone that wants to cross through the sewage. So what's going to happen? They're going to walk in. They're going to be trying to be sneaky. When you see that they went through, that's the moment you close the cam and you hold the angle. They will walk up. It's that simple. They will just walk up, you get the kill, and then you reposition. They will probably not do it again. They will then start destroying the tripwires. But because the tripwires are also countering the only ways to get into site, you know exactly which site that you need to reinforce. So that's a little way to play middle, which I call the funnel. It's funny because you literally funnel them straight in. You can also play tripwires all along this edge. It's really friendly for trips as well, but I would not really suggest playing there, as there's two angles that they could basically fuck you up. The buy barrier here is a little further as well, so you cannot place trips here yet. And of course, they spam the doors, so what's going to happen? Because they spam the doors, they're going to destroy every trip that is in that area. So don't play that too much. When you come on and play B-Link, I would suggest using tripwires that are not known to the others. Of course, you can still use this. This is non-passable. You can also place a tripwire there to make sure that they go to you, and then place this trip a little lower like this, or place it just on the edge here so that it also gets anyone rushing down here. And then just play it around with cages. Catch them off guard. The moment you get a kill like that, just walk up all the way up. Just wait here and hold the angle here for someone to camp it. If no one is there, you can actually start wide swinging it, see if anyone is here. If they fell back, you have it. I would say that playing B-Link is a tough one to do. You can, of course, always place a camera to support you. Place it around the edge there so you can see anyone in there. Place it above the arch. You have to do that when the buy barrier drop, by the way. If you have to place it above the arch, you can actually, of course, notice it. People would have to look all the way up to destroy it. And in that time where you see someone looking up to destroy it, you can also just stand here and just wide swing him. There are aggressive and multiple aggressive ways to play it. With tripwires, you can use the entire ledge here. Everything here is tripwire friendly, basically. I would definitely suggest using it, and you can use these trips to your advantage. Also, if you really want to play it back from sight, but you still want to hold it, you can do one ways. I believe that was basically it. I have done this in early access, but I completely forgot at this point. Here we have it. So it's lining up this little line onto the pipe. Then it lands on the edge. And that is beautiful because it gives you a good one-way where you can clearly see their feet. And on the other hand, if enemies are there in that position, they will, of course, not be able to see a single thing. So I would suggest using that one-way if you want to play it back from sight. That's it for middle. Coming up to B site, first thing I would love to say is B site is not really Cypher friendly. You have a couple of tripwires that you can place, but besides that, it's not completely Cypher friendly. I would suggest let's go over the tripwires first. I would love to do a couple. The moment the buy barrier drops, you can actually aim right here and then place a tripwire. Why would I say place this one? Because this end is all the way covered by the entire building. So what happens when enemies push up? They cannot see the tripwire being placed because they can't see either ends. If you place a tripwire, for example, on this corner, which I have been doing in the early access, it's not great. So placing the tripwire here is actually showing them exactly where the trip is, and it's shot. If you do a trip like this, they cannot see where it lands. Same for on the front of this truck. You can also place it like this. They cannot see that end, so that tripwire is going to be safe. They're not going to wide swing it as hard on time to see this end. So those are the really aggressive past buy barrier trips that you could do. They do work really, really well. So I would absolutely say use them. Using them in combination with a cage here, so that you can actually wide swing it as far as you like to then hold this angle and get the second kill as well. I would also say use the tripwire on this sign. This sign actually allows you to place it like this, and this is a tripwire that's caught plenty of people already as well. You can use this little corner right here. It's a tiny little trip, but it gets people because this is a default plant, or otherwise they plant in this corner. I would suggest either playing back in like the elbow part, or playing back on site all the way retake. What I would say, there's also a tripwire, by the way, you can do in this box right here. It's not too powerful. I don't think a lot of people are going to run into this, but you could definitely use it. That's basically it for tripwires. You can use trips along this edge as well. You can use a tripwire like this Place it on, of course, eye level so that no one is able to jump over it. There is a glitch cam that you can do. It's not the strongest glitch cam there is. You can stand on this little corner and then place it above here. You can actually see people through the roof. I believe you can even place it a little further to the left to make it even stronger. Try for a sec. Here you go. Yeah, you can literally see anyone in. You can even see into heaven. That is a little bit of a glitch cam. I would not suggest using it. It's not powerful enough and definitely not worth the risk that you're taking. You can use a camera right here. I would say this is one of, if not the strongest cameras out there. This camera basically allows you to see anyone that is trying to push up B long, and it gives you full control over Link. Of course, the camera, if they push Link, the camera is going to get shot quite quickly, but if they push long, they will not know about this cam. They cannot hide from it as well. If they want to try and crouch along the edge, you can still see them. Or they would have to smoke it in a really weird way. But you can hide this camera quite well. People will not shoot it if they push up long. And you have all the intel of where people are pushing. The only issue is if you want to use this cam, your tripwires have to be a little bit deeper. And you would have to first play off of contact. So, for example, you kill the first, you kill the second, and then you fall back. Once you fell back, you can actually use this cam to see if anyone is still pushing it. You can send that over to your team. You can tell them everything you know. I would suggest using this camera mainly. Of course, you could use other cams as well. Whereas I would suggest cams up high like this so you can actually see anyone pushing on every single angle. You can never be flanked. If you then play it from the hull or / elbow, you can always stand safe because no one is able to push your flank without you knowing it. But I would still suggest using the one up there. This is basically it for B side. I would suggest not playing it too much. Play it from time to time to just surprise the enemies with these tripwires. That's basically it for B. Okay, coming up towards attack side, you can already see the buy barriers are up. We're going to show you the tripwires to hold the entire flank, even though we know exactly where the buy barriers are. So, first of all, the tripwires need to be set up in a way where you already know where your team is going. So, if your team is going B, you basically only need one tripwire, and that's the trip here. It's not jumpable, it's not passable. Of course, a jet is able to updraft over without you hearing it, but it is one of the easiest and best tripwires out there, and it saves you a trip to use anywhere else, or maybe even place it to counter any rotations. On the other end, if you go towards A site, this is also one tripwire that's crucial. That's this one. I wouldn't suggest changing it. It's super easy. They're not jumpable. Of course, you can updraft over it, but placing the tripwire deeper also means that playing the afterplant on this position will not be possible. So you have to have the tripwire kind of deep into spawn. For middle, and then we have to release buy barriers. I would say the best trips, maybe even before the buy barrier right here. If you really want to counter anyone from pushing mid, do it right here, or actually on the other side. You would have to wait for the buy barrier to drop to place it right here. These trips, I would say do not add too much because they can still flank all the way over the entirety of sites. I would suggest just using one of these two trips or use both of them to make sure that they cannot flank either way. So these trips can not be jumped from both sides, so you can easily use both at the same time. But I would suggest using one if you know where your team is going, and then use one on site for afterplant. That is the best and easiest way to guarantee a free kill. All right, let's talk business. We're going to be having a little chat about lurking. Lurking on this map is hard, but when you pull it off, it is extremely, extremely satisfying. Okay, for example, our team here, we have 4 people. They're going to rush B. So what our plan is, first of all, the moment the buy barrier drops, we're going to shift into this position. We basically have that tripwire there at all times. We can hide in this corner without anyone in that flank pushing it. So that tripwire is going to be there. So they cannot flank our team. And we're just going to be holding this angle for a little bit. What's going to happen? As your team is pushing into B main, you can hear people on doors. You can hear them rotate. So what you want to hear or listen for is the moment you hear a step for someone in link to rotate. That's the moment you're slowly going to creep out and check your angles. See if anyone has pushed it. They could have pushed every angle. Slowly walk up. Once you've done it, you can see it's completely clear. Do you then instantly push this angle? If there's people holding sight from this angle, yes. If there's no one in link, do not go there. They're going to expect it. The best bet that you can do then is to keep on walking and try and go through the sewer. The sewer is my little rat hole. As a CypherMan, it's just a perfect little entrance for you, for your sneaky place. And you can just continue on and wait to see if there's more people to rotate. Be careful. People will rotate. Not everyone is stacked B yet if they're continuing on. What you can also do is the moment you gain control of this position, call the rotation. Get your team to rotate to A. If there's 2 or 3 people still alive, you can actually hide. You can walk up and you can hide in this corner. You can wait for them to rotate around you. The moment they've passed you, okay, 1 passed, 2 passed, all 3 passed, okay, and then you spray them down. You can do that, or you can push up the site and flank them. Same the other way around. The moment you're already in this position and your team is pushed site, I would not suggest going this way, but I would suggest taking the little longer route and just be right up here in the flank as well. If you know that there's still people that need to rotate, I would maybe even suggest staying up here. Just because this angle is a little different than normal. Or if you had time, you can push all the way down here and crouch at this angle. This is also an angle that we'll never expect. And you can stay in their spawn and just hold that rotation as your team fights the people on A. Lurking if your team goes A is quite simple. Of course, the tripwire here is going to be perfect. And one thing I would suggest when you're actually about to lurk towards a site is using a camera. I would say use the camera aggressively. Just jump on top of this box. Use the cam here. It's kind of hard to get, but make sure that you can have this cam here. Showing your camera is going to trick the enemies. Because in theory, you're not going to go A. You're going to wait here. You're just going to wait to see if anyone pushes it. When you have your cam here, you open it a couple of times. You don't have to open it for ages. Just tap it a couple of times. See if anyone is there. Let them shoot it. Then you wait. Once you've pushed up, they think you went A main as Cypher as well. So you wait up. You push up slowly. And you go all the way through. Check the corners. Check behind the box. Let's see if anyone is holding this. No one is, because we saw the rotation on the camera, for example. You can just shift up. You can hold this angle for a little bit, see if anyone does it. Or you can wait here, see how far your team is. If your team is already close onto pushing site, you can actually swing it with them and get people on the side. If you want to go for the longer lurk, you can actually take this route and instead go through the sewer once again. Like I said, sewer is great to play. And you can actually be in their flank holding that rotation once again. Those are like the 2 lurking strategies that I have for you. I would also suggest playing it a little bit on middle. Middle is an area on this map that they really would love to take. So they always peek the doors or they hold this angle. I would say be patient and just play it on middle. And you don't have to push all the way through. I'm going to show you one more play that I love. And that is just great. Okay, the little play that I'm talking about right here is going to be sneaky. You need to be fast, but you also need to hide. We're going to go into this corner the moment the buy barrier drops. So knife out. We try and get around the corner. We get the gun out. We hold this angle. We hold this angle. We hold this angle. We wait. This is the position to wait in. If you don't feel like anyone is going to be pushing this close angle, reposition your crosshair onto this angle. Because people from double doors could try and help the push towards A. So they rotate through middle. If they do that, this is the instant headshot angle that you just want to hold. And try and tuck yourself as far into this corner as possible. When you feel like no one is coming, you can continue on this lurk and then help your team out on towards site. That's it. That should be it for today. So thank you all for watching. If you like it, feel free to subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.